Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Our Isekai, where we discuss things that matters to us from TV shows, TV series, anime, films, and anything that's of interest to us.
Yeah.
So, this week we're keeping... Oh, before that, I am your overpowered MC, Uchenna.
I'm here still for vibes, Faith, but I'm in better mood this week than I was last week.
That's good.
Because I was exhausted last week.
All right.
Truly exhausted.
And we are keeping with the same format as we did last week, because I think I rather quite enjoyed that.
Yeah, I think it was a good episode.
Yeah. So last week we did anime, and this week we're kind of focusing on TV series.
Yeah.
We are focusing on TV series this week. And so just to remind again what the format is, we have the main segment, and we've kind of divided that into three. So we have betrayals. What's the next one?
Side characters
That stole the show. Mm-hmm. And so we have 2 betrayals each, and 5 side characters that stole the show. Then the third one is NHS helpings, or social services helpings. Characters that we think if they'd gotten the help that they should have gotten, then,
would have been better people.
Yeah.
Would have been better people.
And then we've got red light, green light is normal. And then we've got this or that. This week we don't have a ship it, skip it, because I have something. The this or that this week is quite interesting, I think.
Okay.
Anyway, I think it's quite different. It's more scenario based. So I'll give you a scenario and we'll say this or that. Like pick one.
Which one? Okay.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so you go first. Who's your betrayal?
My first betrayal is Eve stabbing Villanelle in season 1 finale of Killing Eve. So at this point, they've established a relationship, I'd like to say. Like, they have an understanding. So Eve knows why Villanelle does what she does. Villanelle likes Eve. And they're laying on bed, and they're having this moment where Villanelle's like, I've come to love you. And he was like, me too, I've come to love you. Because obviously they've been having like this cat and mouse kind of game. And then as they're laying in bed, Eve stabs Villanelle, and she was not expecting it. And I was like, but we knew she had a knife, but I thought she had a knife for protection, not because she was going to stab Villanelle in the end, which is what happened. So yeah, that was my first betrayal. That shocked me anyway.
What happened? What was the cause? Was there a reason why she stabbed her? Or I mean, and from what I know, Villanelle's not a good person.
Villanelle is not a good person, but at the point of where we were in that episode,
right?
It was understanding, well, from my point of view.
That they were not going to attack each other?
Yeah.
Right.
That was the conclusion they came to, yeah. Okay. So it was like unspoken agreement between the two of them.
Villanelle killed her friend, that guy, right?
She did.
Yeah, no, not having that.
They had an unspoken agreement that at that point, they were not going to fight, they're not going to attack each other. They were just going to rest on the bed because they were both exhausted from all the fighting, all the chasing, all the hiding, or just...
Was that what made Villanelle then decide she was going to kill Eve? So.
Yeah, in season 2, yeah, because she was like, you're an actual bitch. Like, we had an agreement that we're not going to fight, and here you are.
It's so odd because for a killer, she actually has, from what I've seen so far of obviously season 1, she has really weird principles. Does that mean, like, she has like strict laws? Like, does that make sense? Did you ever notice that? Like, she has a sense of justice, like, personally on her own.
She likes to have fun.
She does.
If something bores her, she's not going to do it. She actually tells you that's a bore.
Yeah.
she keeps it moving.
Okay, interesting. All right. My first one is Game of Thrones. Ned Stark and Littlefinger. One of the most shocking. I remember watching it and just being like, what? Ned Stark was meant to make it. Like, Ned Stark's like the main guy. And it was just head chopped, rolled off right into the bag in front of his kids.
But I feel like Littlefinger just betrays everyone. He has no loyalty.
No, but like, it was so shocking. Like, I know, but I just didn't expect it, because like he had plotted with Ned to kind of release the secret about the incest thing, right? And let them be like, oh, those kids are not Robert's kids type thing, right? And like, as a normal viewer, there would be bad stuff that happens. Like, obviously, if you haven't read the book or whatever, bad stuff happens, and then the good guy wins. The good guy won't win it with this one. When I say I was shocked, I was shocked. I remember what Lord Baelish said. He said, I did warn you not to trust me.
He knows himself. As I said, Littlefinger has a reputation of betraying everyone. It wasn't just one person. It was everyone he betrayed.
And since then, I'd had him in mind. And you know when Cersei did the power is power thing, I said, yeah, bitch. You better know your face. Because like he thought because he did her such a huge favor, he had something on her. But she showed him for real. He should have picked properly, but he clearly didn't. He had selfish interests and he thought he was going to get Sansa. Asshole.
Poor him.
Honestly, it was shocking. Very shocking. What's yours next?
Our next one is Sylvie and Loki. Season 1 of Loki finale, when they finally get to the end of time and they're about to they both decide. So Loki was like, we're not going to kill he who remains. That would just offset the balance of the world. Sylvie was like, I want to. And she was like, and then they came to a conclusion. Like, no, okay, I will not kill him because we've said it will be catastrophic for the world. And then this bitch, as they're about to go through the portal, shoves Loki out of the way and she says, I'm gonna do what I want. You can stay here though. Goes in the portal, kills he who remains, and Loki was like, bitch, I thought we had an agreement, because he loved Sylvie. Honestly and truly, I actually shipped them together, to be honest. I still ship them together to this day.
They're the same person. It's a bit strange.
I know they're the same person, but Sylvie is a girl, you know. Sylvie she's actually one of my favorite, like,
no, she's one
of the fantastic characters, Sylvie is. She's very complex in her thinking and the way she acts. She's amazing. But yeah, the whole shoving Loki out of the way and then going to still kill he who remains. I don't think Loki saw that coming. No. I think we didn't even see it coming at that point either. Like, there's an inclination that we knew that she could, because she had said it from the very beginning. I want to kill him. But at that point, I thought, from my perspective, that she was she has softened up, as one would say, from being with Loki all this time, and come to a different conclusion that maybe they do need he remains. Maybe not the what's it called? The time people.
Yeah.
Maybe the time people weren't needed to kill off the different branches and kill off all the variants as per se, but they did need a sense of order for the world to continue running.
Yeah, that's a good one, actually. I think because, like, from a personal vendetta side of things, right, I kind of get what
I get it. She was very constant in her speech. Yeah. And her actions.
I don't know how bad Loki took it. Like, I don't think he took it as that much of a betrayal. Like, yeah, it was a betrayal, but I think in the grand scheme of things that Loki himself has done, I mean,
I know, but he didn't like a girl before he liked Sylvie. That's heartbreak 101. In fact, for some men, that heartbreak is a whole star of a villain figure.
Fair play.
Yeah.
Thank God for Loki's growth.
Like, they get their heartbroken, they were like, burn this world. But Loki was like, no. I understand this girl. She did what's best for her. I'm still going to save her and this world I was going to burn 3 weeks ago.
That's funny. Loki is so funny.
But that's what he wanted to do 3 weeks prior, was to burn the world.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Right. So my next one is Serena sleeping with Nate, her best friend's childhood love. Raggedy bitch. I think that's my favorite thing now. Anyway.
I have mine too.
A grade A red flag, raggedy bitch, Serena Williams, Vanderwoodson, sorry. Vanderpump? Vanderwoodson. Woods, like Woodsen. Anyway, her.
Yeah.
Serena. Right. So, you know the story. That was kind of what started the series, right? She sleeps with Nate at like some random wedding, and then she flees the city, and then she comes back, and then that was when it started. And then obviously, it's like this tension thing, and she's doing this whole woe is me, I feel so guilty about what I've done, but nobody knows what I've done. And even Gossip Girl wasn't even the one that told Blair about this. Serena didn't tell Blair. Nate's confessed and told her on her birthday.
That's bad timing on his behalf.
Honestly. And she had intended to, have sex with him for the first time, her first time. And she had this whole thing planned out, and then he told her, like, out of guilt, because, like, his dad has been like, oh, you need to do the right thing. Side eye, because it's coming from his dad. But anyway, Nate tells the truth out of, like, some weird guilt thing. Really bad timing. If you're going to tell her, just tell her, like, from the start while, like, Serena was away. So, like, Serena doesn't come back feeling all guilty or whatnot. Like, they needed to have just started on smoke, Or at least Serena should have come back and told her what she had done. And she confronts her, and she's just so heartbroken that, what she does? She sleeps with Chuck Bass, my girl. My girl was so down. She was down bad. Blair was down bad, bro. I felt so bad for her. It was so messy. I love it, but Serena was never really a good friend to Blair anyway. And I was kind of glad that Blair ended up dating Dan at some point as well, and their relationship was actually better, in my opinion. I'm going to die on that hill because their relationship was so grown. They helped each other. They communicated. Like, you could tell that she'd been through a lot, obviously, right? And Dan, like, cared. Well, it was a bad idea to make Dan Gossip Girl. In my opinion, Dan is never Gossip Girl because that would just make him a horrible person. And I just can't. He's this, like, to me, he's like this nerdy guy who like likes to look down on the rich people, but he's a weirdo himself. Like, he wants to kind of be like them as well, and a bit of a hypocrite, nerdy, is the word I'm looking for. Like, he is one of them technically, but he feels like he's not because like he's sarcastic or something and smart or whatever, but he's just like them. But yeah, that's my second betrayal. Because obviously it kind of started the show, and it started like their huge fight where they started fighting for like the queen bee position at school, and that was legendary. That was so much fun. Serena, the queen of, I did something bad, now I'm feeling guilty about it. Feel sorry for me. Fuck off. Anyway, next part.
So, side characters who stole the show.
Damn straight.
So, starting off strong, we have Samantha from Sex and the City. Samantha is an icon. She should be our main character. Because I a lot prefer her story to Carrie's story. Carrie was just Carrie. She was, in my opinion, a pick-me. Don't come for me. But she was a side mistress. She begged a man to come back for her. She went to Paris for a man who didn't want her, and then married the man that didn't want her. Say what you will, but the evidence is there.
No. I think lately, anyway, the general consensus online is that Carrie is a bit of a pick-me.
She wasn't the best of...
She's not the greatest character.
She was not the greatest character. Like, even her betrayal, or not betrayal, and how she acted as a friend, I didn't think I liked her. But Samantha was a girl's girl from through and through. Like, when Miranda had a pregnancy and she didn't feel confident, she gave her her appointment to make her feel better. What's her name? The other one? Charlotte, yeah. When Charlotte was going through her moments, Samantha was always there for her. She was the only one who, Samantha was always the person that encouraged everyone in the group, regardless of their decisions they made.
And she was okay with what they each wanted to do with themselves. Yeah. I mean, she was her PR person, wasn't she? She got Carrie all the opportunities that she got. You know, the bus thing, she got Carrie that.
So even like her story is so fascinating, like for how she deals with her relationships, how she deals with her personal herself, and as well her growth as a character. It was a far more interesting story for me to actually anchor onto instead of Carrie's.
But it's interesting though. I think that was probably why lots of people liked her, right? Or that's why I also liked her, because she said what was on her mind, and she did whatever she wanted to do, like fuck what society said. Yeah. And Carrie, I think she probably had this idea of what she wanted her life to be, and she tried to go for that rather than, and well, I think while in the middle of doing that, she lost herself a little bit. Or do you think that that's just who she was?
I think that's Carrie and herself, because even if you watch I haven't finished watching this new the new Sex and the City. To be honest, I've only watched like the first 5 episodes of the new season, so I don't know, but her personality carries forward even after Big passes away. So I just think that's her personality, that's just her character. It has nothing to do... I completely understand having a goal mind of how you want your life to be. That because we're all chasing a version of that in our various ways. But I feel like the way she was handling things, I couldn't... because I couldn't see myself doing those things, I couldn't empathize with her. But because I could see myself in Samantha, I can see myself in some of Samantha's ways of thinking. Like, right. I can rationalize Samantha's actions. That's why I liked her story better.
Okay. No. She definitely stole the show. I remember, like, she had like this relationship. Was it with Richard, the rich guy who I think he ended up cheating on her, and she was just like, she dumped him pretty much. Yeah. And I think she was what she said is how she was. There was no backtracking, you know? I mean, she did have a few moments of second guessing herself, but we're all human, that's fine. But she was always who she presented herself to be. She
was always honest. Like, even the time when she was dating the young model, she was like, mate, I'm a whole 10 years older than you. Are you sure it is me you want to date? And he was like, I'm all for you. And even after they broke up, they had such a good relationship afterwards. Like, the breakup was sad to see, but it was meant to be. Like, they were...
I think another character on there that I think is a few people's favourite as well is Charlotte.
Charlotte was such a babe, honestly. She's so heartwarming.
Who she just as well said she was who she was.
Yeah. Charlotte also is a girl's girl. I think everyone was a girl's girl, bar Carrie.
Really?
Yeah, I think even Miranda in her own way was there for her friends.
But Carrie was poor.
I don't think it has anything to do with money. It's everything to do with character. Because there were times where she brought Charlotte down. That's not to do with money. That's character.
Yeah, there were certain times she asked for certain things. I was just like, girl, what are you doing?
I don't think being a girl's girl has anything to do with money. I think being a girl's girl is about who you are as a person and how you interact with other women.
Do you reckon that some of it was maybe for content? I mean, for the plot?
Potentially, yeah. I mean, there has to be someone doing bad things for us to wish something good's going to happen.
Right? Like, you know. And she did intentionally do certain things or put herself in certain situations for her blog.
Yeah, she did.
So I think that there's an aspect of maybe self-sabotaging there as well. Also to start with, right, she didn't know Big was otherwise engaged or was with someone else.
No, but when she did, she continued.
Then when she found out, yeah, she didn't.
She continued, yeah.
But I can justify and say that for the plot.
For the plot, indeed.
No, I think I'm trying to see how else you could justify her behavior. Because for a time that obviously the Boston of the show, again, Sex and the City kind of came out, it would have made sense. It would have been a lot more scandalous, right, if the main character was Samantha. It should have been Samantha because she was Sex and the City.
Samantha was Sex and the City, yeah.
Samantha was the real Sex and the City. Carrie was just, she wanted to settle down.
She did.
Yeah, right? So it doesn't make sense that she's Sex and the City.
But her blog was about that.
I know. But I think they must have had to have made a few adjustments to the story because maybe society wasn't ready for something like that. But yeah, no. Samantha was definitely for a lot of people. She was funny. She was very, very clear. She had her rules. She had a way of life. And yeah.
She had her standards.
Yeah, she did. She did. And money was king to that woman. I love her for that. My first one is a cute, I don't know. It's Daryl Dixon from The Walking Dead. He wasn't in the original comics, this character. And he was meant to be this like rough around the edges, like rough guy, rough background. And he wasn't, I don't think he was meant to be likable, but he really was. He was very rugged. He had like this, he used like this, a bow, you know, the short bow, and that was just something about it. He had like longish hair, and like he was southern and rugged, and he was quite charming. He was like a hillbilly, like a charming hillbilly.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, like someone that I'm not gonna say what I was gonna say, but anyway, he always survived, and he was just very likable. Like he was very charming. Like I don't know if I would say he was more charming than Rick. I wouldn't go as far as that. Just to be honest, because sometimes Rick we're making really stupid decisions that I'm just like, what are we doing here, Rick? What was the mission? Like what was the reason? But Daryl, the more you watched him, the more he grew, the more he helped people, the more he was very accepting, and you just like wanted to embrace him. And he never really made super, super selfish decisions. Most of the other characters did. Rarely he did. And I think that's probably why a lot of people kind of gravitated towards him. And they were in like The Walking Dead, the zombies. And so that they all have to kind of live together and like survive together. And he would look after the kids. He'll be there to do like the security guard. He will save people. He had this weird relationship thing with this weird old lady, and that was kind of cute. Yeah, no, Daryl's a real one. So that's why I think he stole the show. Yeah, so you're next.
On to my next. So my next one is Eli Pope of Scandal. The first time we see him, he has a presence about him. I think he shocks us with everything. His interactions with B16 and with his interaction with Olivia herself and Olivia's team, like he keeps you on edge. We didn't really see much of him, but when we heard a lot about him, and each time we heard a lot about him, it was like, oh, tell us more about this man who is your father. And I was like, oh, he's into dinosaurs. Interesting. I was like,
Well, at first we don't know. At first we're introduced to her dad, and then we know of Command, and then we find out that they are one and the
same person,
and it's just. My
but that's
God.
why he still like
he does.
His
presence, has standout speeches.
His presence is everything. Like you don't need to know who he is, but just the mention of his name, it carries.
It does.
Like to begin,
even she was scared of her dad for a while. Yeah.
So Eli Pope, you are a scary man, but you are a real one. You are honestly, if a man was to stand on principles, he would be the pinnacle of I stand on principles.
Do you remember that speech he had with Fitz? You are a boy.
It's a bass in his voice, honestly. It carries everything.
Oh my God. A boy. Something. I was doing so and so when you were a thought in your father's testicles. And he was like, because obviously he'd been arrested, and Fitz kind of came to like gloat, and he was just like, you think you've got me, bitch?
I'm where I want to be right now.
Oh yeah. Eli Pope
was fantastic. Olivia's mother as well.
Oh,
goddamn! Yeah. Just the Popes in general, but just the Popes. The Popes. There is something about you that whatever you instilled in Olivia, I appreciate that because she made a show what it was, but you two made her like an assassin as a mother, Command as a father. I mean, how could I not win a tenner? How could I?
Yeah. And it's the fact that they were training her and not really training her as a child. That to me is that's crazy.
That's social conditioning to the very T.
Honestly.
But no, just the Popes in general. Olivia Pope and her, well, not Olivia, I forgot her mother's name, but her mother and her father standout characters. Like you don't even need to see them, but once you hear the mention of their names, you just know what's about to happen.
Yeah. No, I agree. My next is Sue Sylvester from Glee.
But Glee has so many like outstanding characters though.
Who married herself. Doesn't get more outstanding than that, my G. It doesn't get more legendary than that. I mean, she was a bane to Mr. whatever his name is. Mr. Shu.
Oh, him.
She hated that man with everything she had. She thought he was a weirdo, which, you know what? She wasn't really wrong. And she also had heart because of her sister. And she was hardworking. This character was actually quite complex, right? Because she trained those girls and she wanted the very, very best for them. And she had a soft spot for people who are disabled. But she wouldn't like take shit from them, right? She wouldn't treat them like they're any less than the others. She would give them obviously the allowance that's needed for their ability. But she wouldn't like treat them any different, right? And yeah, she was a fantastic coach.
She was
iconic, the woman like that she is. And remember, she had this moment where she was singing and she was doing it in tracksuit as well.
That's her get-up though. That was her thing.
It wasn't. I know, but that was just chef's kiss. Yeah, great. And then obviously they brought on the other coach that was a woman, and I remember she didn't like the woman either. Sue Sylvester. She was, in my opinion, she was likable. She was like the villain that they needed, those Glee kids.
I didn't think she was a villain. I just they weren't her kind of people.
What do you mean? Of course she was the villain. She used to push them on the to push them.
She did that to every child, not just Glee children.
She did that specifically to the Glee kids.
Every child.
It was mainly the Glee kids that she did that to.
She had extra spice for them. I agree, but she did it to every child.
But yeah, she was chaotic. She was funny. She was raw when she needed to be. And yeah, so that's why I think people mainly kind of gravitated towards her and liked her for the kind of character that she was. And to be honest, I think she carried,
season 1.
Yeah. Up to probably like season 3 she carried, I'd say.
Fair enough.
Yeah, and that's it.
So I've got Cassie from season 2 of Euphoria. Because in season 2, Rue's out. We don't really see much of Rue. She's been held because she's back to doing drugs, and obviously she's in trouble and she's just there. But Cassie is having a whole breakdown. She's dating Nate, her best friend's ex-boyfriend / still boyfriend, because they get back together. So kind of techie grounds we're on. But she's going through a thing. She doesn't feel comfortable in her body. She feels insecure. But we see her ups and downs. We see her take on Maddie's personality for a while, like for a good 2 episodes. And she's battling all these things with her sister, with her family, with her friendship groups. And it's just, I think she stole the show just because her story was that dramatic. I think her and herself, she is a standout character. And she is her own person, but because there's so much happening around her in comparison to everyone else, you were like, damn girl, you deserve a break. Like, when is your break coming? Because this is a bit much. Nah. She was broken at that point, I think. Like, there's so much that's happened to her.
It was like her identity kind of just fractured.
It was taken from her.
And she wanted to become Maddie instead, because to her Maddie was confident,
yeah,
right? So she wanted to embody that, but she took it too far. She took it way too far, because she wasn't fixing the issue. She was just putting a band-aid that was broken and infected on it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy work to date your crazy best friend's psychotic ex-boyfriend.
But at that point, he was the only one showing her affection, because we just witnessed that the man that the boy that she was dating was a year older than her, had just gone to college, and there's rumors about her saying, oh, she's this loose person who just goes around having sex. And then her boyfriend's like, well, they told me you're a loose person and you haven't given me anything yet. What now? And she was like, but you know I'm not like that. We've been together for a long time before you even went to college. You know it's just a rumor. I've never been that person. And then he tries to have sex with her and she's not having it. She runs away. And then she's like, then there's a scene with in the carousel, and she starts acting in the way that people perceive her, and it's very sexual, and she puts her hair down, she's going backwards, her boobs are showing. It was fantastic cinematography on the cast, on the whole production team. And then Nate's the only one who sees her for who she was. Like, well, not sees her for who she was, but she's like, well, you're broken and I'm broken, so 2 peas in a pod, 2 broke people together. They found companionship to some degree.
I don't deny that. I think my issue is, if you're going to do it, if you're going to be that bitch, you better be that bitch.
She tried. In her head, as we said, that bitch was Maddie. So she was like, I'm an embodied Maddie then.
Yeah, but you got to be Maddie. You know what I mean? Like, you got to be that girl, but she doesn't have the backbone for it. It's the same thing. Do you know how much rumors is probably going on around Maddie, about Maddie as well?
Quite a lot.
Exactly.
But the thing with Maddie, the rumors get shut down so quick because she's once she hears something,
she'll bust your head.
Literally, that is a rumor. Like,
yeah.
Don't speak shit about Maddie, or she's gonna come and beat your head against the wall, because she actually literally did that.
You have to be madder than the people that are spreading the rumors. You have to show them that you're able to. They want to go low, you can go lower. Fuck your reputation. That's what I'm going to say.
But yeah, because she was going through such a lot, she stole the show, not because of, she is a standout character, as I said, but she stole the show in that season because her story was so interesting to watch.
No, I just think it's because they focused on her mainly. She has nothing going on for her.
No, I think Maddie had a lot going on in her life as well.
No, I mean, what's her name? Cassie. I'd say the other girl's story was more interesting in season 2.
Maddie?
Or any of the other shows, including the one I'm gonna say, one of the characters I'm gonna say.
Okay, go ahead.
I think I just have not that I have no sympathy for her, but I have no sympathy for her. I think she's a boring, dumb bitch.
She was not boring.
And I think Maddie should have bit her up to almost and hospitalized that bitch. Okay, I'm joking. No violence. But everyone was going through it. Everyone was going through it. And unfortunately, that's how she went through it. And she should have just held her head up and be like, yeah, take what's coming to you. And actually sought help. Every single child on that show. Because let's not forget, they are children. My God.
Yeah.
What are the parents doing? What are the teachers doing? That was what I kept thinking. Like, nobody is paying attention to these kids. Nobody. And like, all the other kids are just watching their lives as entertainment and just partaking. And I guess that's just high school, isn't it? That's the secondary school, and that's insane. Because when I actually think back to maybe the girls that kind of got pregnant, or like the kids that were being bullied at school, like the little weird kid in the corner, the one that used to smell, I'm just like, yeah, what are the adults doing? Do you know what they were doing? They were focused on the wrong people.
Well, Rue was a concern.
Yeah, but no, I meant the ones in real life. Not that they mainly take all the attention, don't they? The ones that cause the ones that are the biggest cause for concern always take the attention from the ones that also kind of need the teacher's attention as well. Anyway, but yeah, Cassie, she's alright. She's not my fave, but she's alright.
I think so. She was favorite. I said I liked the story.
Yeah, fair play. Next is Eric Effiong from Sex Education.
He's funny.
Need I say more?
He's very funny.
Need I say more? I just need to put his face there and just be like, oh, look at him. I mean, he's sarcastic. He has presence. He is funny. He is the moment.
He's iconic.
He is iconic. He is a meme of a meme that became a government statement. Wash your hands, you dirty pig.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it became like a huge thing. He stole the show. I reckon he probably made the show even, not that the show wasn't good, but even more popular than it was. And his story was so heartbreaking and also liberating.
I didn't finish last season, did you?
No. Oh, I'm speaking based on season 1.
Oh, okay.
Because that's all I watched. I just couldn't do it anymore because I didn't get it.
I think I watched it halfway through season 2. I did not watch season 3. No.
Well, not that I didn't get it. I just trauma. It's the same thing with me finishing Euphoria. I think if it comes again, I'm not watching it because it's too much. Why are they putting kids through so much shit?
Because that does actually happen in real life.
I know, but oh my God, it's so heartbreaking. It's really, really heartbreaking. But I think because my reality is so far
removed from it.
And okay, not Sex Education, but Euphoria. It's the extreme. It's like EastEnders, but like times 10.
Didn't watch EastEnders.
That's why I stopped watching EastEnders as well. It's too much. It's just trauma after the other to like the same group of people. Like one group of people would have child loss, would have some type of family death. There will be like abuse tucked in there somewhere, you know? All within a unit of a family. I'm tired of trauma. I want to laugh. Or maybe be a little bit scared. I still need to watch Sinners. Maybe I'll watch it tonight. But yeah, going back to Eric. Eric is funny. He's Otis's best friend, but because of obviously how his character is and how the actor himself portrayed that character, it brought light to every scene that he was in, and he just stole the show. His presence, his little like one bit that he had, and his journey with his family, right, with his dad, right, and his mom, and that church moment that they had, that was so, my goodness, so heartfelt. And he kind of rose from being a sidekick, in my opinion anyway, to a character in his own right. So yeah, that's why I think he kind of stole the show, because he's even more recognizable than the main character, Otis himself.
Otis is something.
Otis was annoying.
He had a lot of growth. He had his own little trauma to deal with his mum and his dad, and with his dad, goodness me. Sorry.
Okay, with his dad, sure, not with his mum, because it was his mum's career that he was using at school.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm not. I didn't. I was gonna say I didn't have parents, but I don't know what it's like to be embarrassed by a parent. So I can't relate.
Okay. My next one is Barney from How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. Not saying Ted was a bad character.
Legend.
But
Wait
Barney.
for it.
I can't remember.
What do you mean you can't remember?
I don't know why you said wait for it as if you think I was going to remember.
No, that's what he said. It's like, it's legend. Wait for it. Dirty. Like that was like his thing. That was Barney's thing.
It's been a minute.
It's been a minute for me too, but carry on.
God. As you would notice, Barney's iconic to the point that he's in Channa's memory rent-free, apparently, at the mention of his name.
Yeah, because he's a memorable character. He is
a memorable character. He's funny. I liked his interaction with all the characters.
I loved it when he was dating Robin as well.
Me too. I think they should have stayed together.
Honestly.
They should have stayed, because they understand each other. They do so well. And they have such good chemistry. And I know you can't rely on chemistry to carry a relationship forward, but those two could have relied on chemistry alone to carry that relationship forward, because they were just a vibe. That's not the point of this conversation, though.
Yes.
Let's reel it back.
Ted. Sorry, not Ted. Barney.
Barney. He's funny. He's always in a suit. Come on, a man in a suit.
He's a woman rapper.
Honest.
And he portrayed that very well.
He really did. Like,
you remember that revenge thing?
Mm-mm.
That Okay, so basically, Barney didn't used to be a bro in suit. He used to be some guy with like a soul patch beard, long ass thing, and then he was chirping or trying to talk to this girl who he was dating, and then a rich guy in a suit kind of stole his girlfriend. And you know how Barney gets with like his grudges, right? He holds this grudge for years. He himself becomes like a suit bro, right? He gets into the same guy's company, and then he ruins the guy's life.
As he would.
Because he was embezzling, and like Barney becomes the whistleblower, and it's like a whole thing just because. Talk about a fantastic character.
He really is.
He really, really is. Yeah, sorry, carry on.
So Barney, he's so funny. And I think he held that friendship group together. To some degree, I think he held them together because when things were tense, he was comic relief.
Yeah.
Like he was the one who to bridge people apart, to bridge people together. Even if it was just like everyone getting mad at him in that moment, at least he kept everyone together. Even like letting go of Robin for Ted. What a man. To let go of the woman he loves for his bro. If there's anyone who says bros before hoes, that's he stands on it.
How nice does someone have to be? Like, and you know, like I never understood. That was my issue with Lily. She never liked him. But now I can't tell if this is just Ted projecting or if Lily really didn't like Barney, because she didn't like him.
I think Lily didn't like him.
But I feel like she was projecting because he was very free and laissez-faire with his life. He could do whatever he wanted and she couldn't. And I think that was a little bit part of why she didn't like him.
Partly.
Yeah.
I also think... because
she wanted to be an artist, but she couldn't chase it, because for her to chase that, she'd have to leave Marshall, and she loved Marshall a lot.
No, she actually did try to leave Marshall.
She did, yeah, that's what I'm saying. She did, but she came back because they loved each other so much or whatever.
I think her art career didn't fly off, and she didn't have the passion to continue with it.
To continue, yeah, well, fair play, there's that too. But then look at Barney, who's just laissez-faire about it.
So you probably not,
And
he didn't
so
like it, it's more resentment.
Yeah, I think anyway, because he treats love, which is something that she holds so dear and so high in her list of priorities, right? He treats it like it's nothing.
I don't think that's true. I think...
Until he had the whole thing with Robin, he didn't really grow that much.
No, he didn't really grow, but I don't think... a relationship wasn't on Barney's top list of things he wanted to pursue, and she didn't get that.
Why she didn't understand why he wouldn't prioritize
the relationship
and stuff like that. Yeah,
but as we all know, romantic relationships aren't the end all of all life.
To Lily, it really was. It kind of in a way, she was a bit of a judgy little bitch.
Fair enough, but
because she also used to judge Robin as well.
Yeah, that's very true.
That's why I didn't really like her.
But romantic relationships aren't the end of all things. Like, your man's your man, but still your friends are your friends. And
also, bear in mind, those friends are not her friends.
They're Marshall's friends. Wow, that's a good point. What are her friends?
I don't know.
that didn't click until now. Well, Lily, are your friends? Why don't you do a girls trip on afternoon tea? Touch grass.
And just like a teacher as well. I don't know, like her whole thing, just a shtick was just not for me. Like at all. I don't know how Robin did it.
No, I think Robin needed a female friend, and she just latched.
She definitely did. Yeah, you're right.
And then she just latched onto the one that was closest by because she couldn't bother to try.
Yeah.
Robin did not want to try with
anyone else.
Yeah. Just like, I like who I like, and you're just on a very line of I like you.
And Robin also had other friends as well, by the way. They were just not
on screen.
Really on screen. Yeah.
And she had her own personality as well.
Yeah. But anyway, back to Barney. Sorry.
Barney is fantastic. Barney, if Robin was ever available, I think you should get back together.
Yeah. I think they should have been endgame. And the mother should have just been some random woman. And it shouldn't have been a story of how he met their mom and then the mom died and then he had to tell the kids that he loves Robin. Fuck that shit. And then he had to go and steal the fucking horn. Fuck you, mate.
How dare a man be in a whole relationship and tell his kids, I love someone else? Pause.
So he was basically telling his kids a story about how he met their mum, but ended up telling them a story about how their dad's mum, by the way.
How he loves Aunt Robin.
Another woman, Aunt Robin.
Fuck off. Don't make the video. I'd rather not know. Keep it to yourself.
On some, this is bullshit.
How dare you do a whole story telling me about how I was in a relationship with your mother, but whilst I was in a relationship with your mother, I loved the woman of my heart was your Aunt Robin who can see you every Saturday. Fuck off. Actually, just go
away.
Indeed. You should have just kept that to yourself, because why do I need to know that?
You should have just said, I like your Aunt Robin now. I'm going to be dating your Aunt Robin. There's no need to tell me the story. I don't need to know.
Because That's cheating. That's emotional cheating.
That's so true, you know. And if I was their mum, I'll come out. My spirit would haunt him for the rest of his life.
Because how dare you stay in a relationship with me just so you can love someone else by proximity? Because you know.
Oh yeah, really?
Yeah, Robin did not want to have children, so it wasn't until after Ted had finished having children, the mother passed away, and the children were grown enough to be like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm done having children.
See, this is
and
why
you don't want to have children.
Barney would have been fantastic together.
Yeah, because one didn't want children. That's why I said if characters were just moving on vibes, those two were perfect.
Writers, come to the front.
You ruined
Come to the front.
a whole storyline.
What's going on? Who bullied you into making this? Because I know writers, they don't play like that. Some producer somewhere, one of the actors, they might have been like, I feel like, you know, maybe. Because writers don't do stuff like this. When they let writers write, they write good.
But yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, Robin didn't want to have children. Ted wanted children, so he found a wife that wanted children. But then it's like, I still love you, but I know you don't want to have children. So once I'm done having these babies, keep me in your thoughts.
And Robin, why did you take him? Why? Like, what was the reason?
What was the reason?
In Cardi B's wise words, what was the reason?
Because it makes no sense. Because why did you wait for a man to help her have children?
He's an architect. It totally makes sense.
No, listen to me.
I've been traumatized by them. It totally makes sense.
You've been traumatized by architects?
Yeah, too. God, they haunt me.
But I don't see you waiting 10 years for the architect to come back to you.
Oh, God, no.
See, that's what I'm saying. She waited for a man to finish having children to come back to her.
Fair play.
Nah, Robin, you need better girlfriends because they would have set you straight.
Would they?
No.
They would just let her live her life.
They would have sent her a cautionary word.
Yeah. They let you know.
Yeah.
That they're not happy, but it's your life.
Yeah.
So, my next side character is Fezco. R.I.P. Fez. From Euphoria. Where do I start?
He's fantastic.
The handsome, quiet drug dealer. High school. Let's not forget that part. Who had a child as a business partner in dealing drugs.
He was his brother.
They were not related.
No, by a proxy.
That was his business partner, and Ashtray would tell you as much. He has a lot of heart, especially for Rue and people who can't really advocate for themselves, and that really, like, I felt, I don't know, he's protective of Rue. And that to me was just, you know what, at some point I started thinking maybe he liked her, but he didn't.
No, I think
he
it's
kept
just,
telling her no.
I think it was more the sense that no one was there for him. So he was like, I will give you these drugs just so I can keep an eye on you.
And when we got his episode and we find out a little bit more about him and Ashtray, and that just deepens your love for the character. I'm very curious what they're going to do with him in the next one that's coming. I don't know if they filmed anything for it yet. I don't think they've started filming really. So I don't know how they're going to explain that. But yeah, he's a character that you don't. To be honest, I always like quiet characters, like broody, just kind of moving through. I usually like them, and so it was a no-brainer that I like Fez. But he's like this guy he's not really part of the group. He kind of watches. Everyone's aware of who he is and what he does, but he's a cool guy. Like he protects people.
He's very respected.
Yeah, and possibly because he's a bit of a, you know, himself, a bit of a psycho himself, right? And he's also been through a lot, but he doesn't touch the product, right? He sells it, which is a very, what's it called? Ghost thing to do. But didn't Ghost start using that? You know, when I never finished watching it. So Anyway, point is, Fez is very likable, and because of his kind of slow burn, we kind of watch his story and his interaction with all the other characters and how protective he is of the Lily?
Isn't it the mother?
No, the other girl, the trans girl.
Rue's girlfriend.
Rue's girlfriend? Best friend? Yeah, Rue's girlfriend.
I forgot her name. I just know that. But Rue's girlfriend.
Yeah, he was also protective of her as well, because he was one of the first people who really knew what had happened with Nate's dad. Yeah. And he was like, it's just like he doesn't judge, right? And that's another thing that I like. And that's also another reason why I like Samantha as well. There's no judgment. Like what you see is what you get with him, and that's just very refreshing for a character. Yeah, and very nice to see. And yeah, that's why I think he's a standout guy.
Okay, my last one is Cece from New Girl. She was Jess's best friend. Is Jess's best friend still to this day. And she's a model, and she was dating Schmidt, and she's just fantastic. She's so funny. Her character in general is so funny. Like her introduction when she was like, I wouldn't touch you with a 10-foot pole, and then season 2, they're fucking. I said, Cece. She said, I'm growing not to judge people by their looks. I said, I hear you, girl.
She said, despite.
And she was just, she's very grounded. Like out of all the people, she knows Jess, obviously the best friend, she knows Jess like very well. Yeah. Like she also knows when to set Jess straight. Like, girl, today you're doing a bit too much. Stop with this craziness. Stop it. And Jess needed that, you know?
Yeah, a lot.
She really needed someone who could ground her, because she had she's a bit
she had her deep moments as well, especially with the way Schmidt kind of treated her as well a bit in one of those. Wasn't he cheating with her on that senator lady?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, he was. They were messing around while he was dating that senator lady.
Oh, well, Cece. But, you know, Schmidt ended that relationship, and just focus on Cece. That's all that matters in my head.
Yeah. I mean, I like the growth that Cece had. I don't know. For me, anyway, she wasn't. I liked Coach.
Coach wasn't there for long, though.
And, well, I liked the two black guys. I should just say that.
That's fine.
What's the other guy's name?
Winston.
I liked Winston.
Winston was funny, yeah. His obsession with cats was a bit too much for me, though. One cat's enough, Winston. You don't need a whole set of cats. No, stop it. One's enough.
Who else? Well, what's the guy that Jessica ends up with?
Nick did not steal a show.
There was just so many. Oh, no, he didn't. No. I'm just like, there's so many things wrong with that man.
He just lacks motivation.
No.
Nick lacks motivation.
Yeah, he had quirks, mate. It's not just the motivation to write that he didn't. No, that's not it. It's more. It's like wasn't there a time where he doesn't like specific things, and like the others would have to really encourage him to like try, and it's like this exhausting to be that guy's friend. Schmidt is a real one, I'm not gonna lie to you. Because
he didn't live with them, though. He lived separately.
Schmidt lived with them.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
I'm pretty sure Schmidt had his own apartment.
No, Schmidt lived with them. Oh my god. Schmidt 100% lived with them.
Are you sure?
100%. There was this whole thing about Schmidt's room, and he was allowed to go in there. Schmidt definitely lived with them.
Okay.
Because why was Cece sneaking around? Remember when they first started having sex? And Cece used to sneak around the flat.
Okay. Pretty sure one of them didn't live in the apartment, like lived across the road or something like that.
I think someone eventually moves out later on.
Okay.
But I'm pretty sure Schmidt definitely lived with them. But yeah, no. Cece, yeah. That first episode still haunts me till today. When they tried to go to her ex-boyfriend's house to go get her stuff.
You know, sometimes you don't need to get your stuff. No, I'm of the opinion now that sometimes you just don't need your stuff. Let them be thrown away. Let them be gone.
Okay, my next character is Dwight Schrute from The Office. Now, this man, why I think he's a standout, right, is because we laughed at him a lot. We didn't understand him. I didn't really understand him. I didn't get it. Like, I was just like, why is he the way he is? And the whole Jim kind of bullying him, and like he probably has a bit of tism there. I mean, Dwight, and it's just that interaction that interaction a lot for me. It just makes him stand out a lot. And it was the whole assistant to the head, to the manager thing. Not assistant manager, but assistant to the manager, to the regional manager. That, and obviously Tim then getting Jim. Why do I keep calling him Tim? Jim then getting the assistant regional manager role that he had initially wanted. And then his whole thing with Pam and Pam leaving him. And him crashing out. Peak television. Entertainment max. And there was this idiot guy that Pam, they hadn't slept together.
Fantastic.
Like, he always made this whole thing about how he went to Stanford, or is it Cornell? And she hadn't slept with him, but she was pregnant. And she convinced this man who went to Cornell that was his baby.
They haven't slept together though.
They hadn't had sex. You know.
So how does he know? Does he not know like 1 + 1 = 2?
I think they did something. I don't remember exactly what they did, but they did something. And she convinced him somehow that he was going to be. And then it obviously came out that it wasn't his. And
obviously.
And then him and Dwight had this fight when they were fighting each other. Because I think she even took it as far as getting married to him. I'm pretty sure. At Dwight's farm. Wow. Nah, you see the crazy work. But yeah, Dwight, peak entertainment. He's very funny. And towards the end, when Steve Carell left, I kind of felt like he and his interaction with like Jim and Pam and the rest, he kind of carried the show. Very funny character, funny to laugh at and sometimes to laugh with. Any scene that you see him in, you just know, you're getting yourself ready to laugh because you know something crazy is about to happen. I promise you. It's either he's talking about his cousin or that there was this whole thing where he was like, oh, he's a deputy sheriff. He's either talking about some weird hobby that he has or his pigs at his farm or some weird family history there about some cousin, something that's definitely, you know, that there's some inbreeding going on there, you know. It was just, he's a manic character. But very fun, very, very, very memorable. And you have a lot of moments with him. And even towards the end, you start even feeling sorry for him, obviously, because he liked this. What's her name? It's not Pam. The blonde lady with the accountant. Pam is Jim's lady. Oh, goodness, this is going to do my head in. Beth? No. I'm so sorry. I'm going to try to to do this as quickly as I can. Angela! Okay. Angela. She was the accountant. And he was very, very much in love with her. And she, oh my God, she was a Christian, holier than thou lunatic woman. 100% hypocrite, because obviously she had a child out of wedlock and she'd been doing the stuff out of wedlock as well.
Poor her.
And she used to judge Pam, who was with Jim, for doing the same thing. And she also judged Pam because Pam was secretly in love with Jim, but she was dating another man in the warehouse, and Pam was the secretary, so she used to judge her. And she was like, I remember this bit where like she was like, oh, like she was feeling sorry for Pam's boyfriend because obviously it's so obvious that she's in love with someone else. But anyway, yeah, that's why I think whatever it was that I said, he was funny, stand out, very great moments. You start feeling for him eventually, and his character also kind of grows. And to be honest, you kind of see his point a lot. You realize he's actually very smart. And he probably should have been running the company anyway, and he would have, because he was a great salesman. But yeah, that's all I got. That's the end. The next bit is TV characters who needed the NHS. Who you got?
Starting off with Meredith Grey, she had childhood trauma. She witnessed her mother try to kill herself several times. She witnessed her mother have an affair. And she witnessed her father become an alcoholic. If that's not childhood trauma, goodness me.
Don't know what it is.
First things first, I want to go back to the hospital that my mother used to work in, because that's just, as you saw it was just flashback upon flashback of everything that happened, that went wrong in her childhood was just coming back to her in her adult life. Like you even see it sometimes, like in episode 1, she's at the bar drinking and she's off her head and she meets Derek and she's like, don't really care who you are because I'm probably going to remember who you are. And she was like, nah, it is what it is. But that stems from her that stems from her childhood trauma. So I think from day one, once the paramedics came to the house and she had the paramedics on speed dial. That child had a paramedics on speed dial, China. I don't know how many children had.
And then even more emotional damage, because then she meets her dad again, and he's this loving father to this annoying younger sister that apparently you have, and there's a whole set of them, by the way. Shock horror.
Mm-hmm. So the moment the paramedics found out her mother was like that, they should have been like, oh, you're not a stable mother. So I blame the paramedics, to be honest, because how many times did the paramedics come out to the house and witness the mother on the floor with blood? I mean, the first time, okay, she was pregnant. That's why she had blood. But the second time, come on.
They're doctors. They can hide it. They can cover it for each other.
Okay, they can cover it for each other, but she was not. She kept a diary of how she was doing. From her diary, we could see her downfall in her mental state. Like, I think from the get-go, from the paramedic should have taken her into like custody and put her into foster care. I mean, foster care isn't always the best. I understand that.
Yeah.
But I think she needed to be with someone that wasn't gonna put her in that amount of pain and trauma. Because
they wouldn't have, because she wasn't really there, was she? There was nobody else to take her.
No,
the dad was at an absentee, and then the mom was making money. She was going to school. She was well fed.
I suppose. Yeah.
But you're not wrong that there should have been more intervention in terms of, and she should have started therapy immediately.
Yeah.
And I think she did actually, didn't she? She started it from a young age, no?
No, Meredith was not in therapy.
Oh.
I think she, the time she went to therapy was after the plane crash. They couldn't operate, so everyone who had been in the plane crash had to go into therapy before they can start operating. But that was the start of her going to therapy. Beforehand, she had all this part of anger, all this part of resentment towards Richard.
I remember they used to call psych some type of name. I didn't respect them at all.
Yeah, so beforehand, she wasn't in therapy. I think that would have helped to deal with her trauma that she'd been dealing with, especially with like when she does meet Lexi in the future and how much resentment she has towards Lexi, not because of who Lexi is, but what Lexi represents. Like, I could have had a father, but he chose you. He chose you over me. And I think that hurt her more than anything. Not the fact that her father wasn't present, but the fact that father could have been her father, but he actually chose not to be that for her.
She's cuckoo.
The mum was lunatic, but why couldn't he have taken Meredith with him?
With him, fair play. She wouldn't have let him.
I suppose not, but she would have been I would have hoped, a more loving family for how Lexi has turned out. I say I hope, because I don't know how Lexi was raised, apart from how I see her in the future when she's grown.
Yeah. No. You're not wrong. Possibly, yeah.
But yeah. Meredith Grey.
So my first one is Mr. BoJack Horseman.
Oh.
So remember in season 1 when Diane writes the book for him?
Or starts to write the book.
She writes it. So after she's written it, she's done with the memoir, after he's put her through so much shit, and then he starts to self-sabotage himself, right? He self-sabotaged the relationship that he had with Diane. He starts drinking. He starts using drugs, forgetting stuff. He tries to come back. He's tried some half-wit, God knows what on that show that he went on, comeback thing, and he just ruined his life because clearly he was trying to, off with his life. That man needed help. He needed psychiatric intervention immediately, and he needed to be in rehab and stay there, like for the rest of his life.
He did go to rehab.
I said go to rehab and stay there, like live there. He should not have come out. He should have stayed there. And the whole, you got to leave those friends in the past. You know what? It wasn't even his friends. It was him. He's the problem. So he should have stayed there, sectioned, under constant supervision until the end, in my opinion.
BoJack was just a troubled man. He was an alcoholic and a drug addict.
Untreated generational trauma. The kid in the show that he was with.
I know.
How much more fucked up, bro? How much more fucked up does a guy have to be? That guy. I never forget. I don't know. I just can't. He's just, he should have been, stay in the rehab center forever and ever. And never see the light of day.
Oh, poor BoJack. He eventually grows out of it to some degree. Yeah.
Not at the end.
At the end, he does.
Not really.
He apologizes to everyone he's hurt.
I don't believe it, because it's a cycle for him.
What, you don't think the rehab helped?
No.
Okay. Okay. My next one is Lexi, Meredith's sister. I think from their general interaction, she became insecure in her personality. I think because the hospital was named after Meredith, and Meredith was obviously like a standout doctor at Sloan. Like she was always being constantly being like compared to her. And then at one point they were like, "Oh, we want doctor."
It wasn't named after Meredith. It was her mum, no?
Yeah, it was named after her mum. Yeah.
Yeah, not Meredith.
Not Meredith. But they had a centre in the hospital named after her at one point in the later seasons.
Yeah, but that was after Lex was dead.
Okay, after Lex was dead. Anyway, so the one episode where they were like, "Oh, want Dr. Grey," and she came along. She's like, "Oh no, we meant Dr. Grey." And then from that, I feel like her confidence just went down because she was always being constantly compared to her sister. And what like
life. You have a great sister.
She wasn't present, and they didn't have a relationship at that point. Anyways, so I think because
they should have just said the original Grey and Little Grey. I said what I said.
Okay. So
I'm being spiteful. I'm joking. No, but trust Nigerians. Nigerians would be like, oh, grade 1 and grade 2. And they'll put it like Dr. Grade 1, Dr. Grade 2. So there's no issue. Or grade M or grade, stuff like that. Where there's no, because of I told you about this, like in my secondary school.
With your sister.
Oh right, yeah, actually.
Yeah.
There was like Uba Junior and Uba Senior. Yeah. And then in my set in secondary school we had like 3 girls called Chemaka, and my God. Thinking back, it's so bad. One was called Chemaka Thin.
I remember.
Chemaka Fat. Chemaka Small. Guys, I'm so sorry because I also participated. We didn't know any better, guys. I'm so sorry. But that was wild.
And that's why people have the body dysmorphia, huh? It will start from young.
It does start from young. But like we had no other adjectives. There was no other way to describe them other than what we could have called one. Well, they were all kind of light skinned, so we couldn't be like, oh, Chemaka light skin.
Well, you could do like the British do, like Tom A and Tom B.
No, well,
do they have the same surnames? No,
it doesn't roll off the tongue.
It does not roll off the tongue, but
because we would have had to say the whole Chemaka N, Chemaka this, that.
What? Because Chemaka's thin
small and thin.
A. A and thin. There's 4 letters in thin and 1 letter in A. And what's your argument, huh?
We were kids.
It doesn't roll off the tongue. There's too many. I said it's a letter. Thin, 4 letters. Anyway. Initial A. 1.
You know what? I understand how traumatized I am for Lexi now. Because even Sloane used to call her Little Grey. Right?
Yeah, she didn't like it. And then he grew out of it. She told him, like, I don't like this. And he understood. And
even she herself had daddy issues. That's probably why both Greys ended up with men way older than them. Jesus Christ.
I like them together, though.
Sloane? And yeah, but still,
I like them together.
That age difference is very uncomfortable, in my opinion.
But yeah, I know it's one of the best hospitals to do your training at, but there's other hospitals. You could have done your training somewhere else.
Fair play.
Yeah. You could have gone somewhere else, establish yourself as your own person before going to Sloan. Yeah,
no, fair play. All right, next for me is Rue in Euphoria.
She's just a drug addict with childhood trauma.
So there's that bit in season 2 where she runs through the street and she steals some of her friends and she's screaming at her mom. And it's just full blown, like there's just so much going on, right? Like she's a medical crisis.
She's
shouting,
full on breakdown.
So in that particular scenario, like when it had gotten to that point, right? She should have been under supervised detox care. Psychological evaluate that bitch, right? Enroll her in a structured outpatient program. But the thing is, like, especially in a place like America, I'm talking if they had NHS. But in a place like America,
it costs a lot of money.
It costs a lot of money. So kids who need the help that's required, they end up not getting that. And it's very sad and it's very unfortunate. No, not unfortunate. It's very sad because everyone needs care, you know? But yeah, Rue, she didn't need drugs.
To her, she feels like she did.
She didn't need, she needed a rehab center, not Fez's living room. Remember that bit in season 1 where she did the detox thing, and Fez really did try, you see. He's a real one.
He did his best.
He really did. But yeah, that's who I've got.
Okay.
What's next?
Alex Karev, sex addict, mother issues, deep mommy issues. What? His mum was not the best of mums to have. And yeah. So he gives everyone in season 1, everyone who has slept with him, let's clarify, syphilis. They actually called him at one point Dr. Sif because he gave all the women syphilis.
Dirty boy.
Indeed. Use a condom. Okay.
It's better than 007.
I suppose. But at the same time, I'd rather not.
Is it better than 007?
I don't think so. Because 007 means, you just let one person die.
Well, a patient.
You let a patient die. But it wasn't his fault. Burke did it on purpose. He knew the patient was going to die, and he let George take the bait for it. Yeah. It would have happened to any of one of those patients. Any one of the student doctors at that point. Burke knew that patient was dying, and he chose him on purpose to make an example of him. So 007, I actually don't mind knowing that it's a setup. I actually don't mind being called 007. Cool. Burke knew he was dying. He put me on the spot knowing that there was nothing else that could be done in that situation. Burke had already done all the procedures that could be possibly done to save the patient. But to give all the female nurses and all the female doctors that were willing to have sex with him syphilis, that's disgusting.
He didn't intentionally go around giving syphilis. He went around giving dick, infected dick.
Okay. And my point goes back to it. Use a condom. Okay? I don't care if you want to be slinging your dick in the streets.
Those nurses and Alex Karev said raw next. Because I'm so sorry. Alex is not just to blame. I'm going to blame the nurses too. Yeah. How are you a nurse and you're not telling your partners to wrap it up?
I don't know.
Also, how are you a doctor and not wrapping yourself up? Side eye.
Oh my God, it's so disgusting. He needs to be in therapy to deal with his mummy issues, to deal with his sex addiction. I'm calling it sex addiction. It really wasn't. He just went around the streets or went around the block of the hospital.
And he was an asshole. They used to call him Devil Spawn.
Because he was so rude.
Yeah, he was
but he had so much pent-up anger from his mummy issues. Like I keep saying, he needs to be in therapy for his mummy issues. He needs to talk to someone about how his mother was not a competent mother and how he had to be the parent to himself and his brother and to his mum. And to the point where he didn't even deal with his childhood. He separated himself. He actually was like, I'm gonna remove myself in the situation, but that didn't resolve anything. The issue was still in the back of his head, because even when his brother came, he was like, didn't I send you money like last week? What? Why are you here? Stop bothering me. Like, I paid you off. Go away. Therapy.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, next is Nate Jacobs. I reckon we should just do like one more each. Nate Jacobs from Euphoria. Now, this man, I only feel a little bit sorry. And when I say a little bit, I actually mean a little bit, because of the type of father that he has.
Psycho. What made Nate's father like that, to be honest? I don't know.
It's the constant abuse that he's received from his father, right? In that household that they're in. And so it's exhibiting itself in this way. So when he goes outside, he is the man, because he has the same stature as his father. So if his father is that man at home, he has control outside. So he's going to exhibit those behaviors outside. It will show itself in his relationships, especially with Cassie, who has no backbone and will just let him run through her. And she would say nothing about it, because she is exactly like his mom, and he hates his mom.
Because his mom can't stand up to his father.
Yeah. And he hates his mom, so he hates himself for that as well. And it's insane. And that was why he liked Maddie so much, because she wasn't such a pushover, but she was a pushover. Because they would fight, and he loves that, because his mom would never stand up for herself. And he loves the pushback, because he feels like if his mom could have just done something, so he feels like, oh, Maddie can take it. So he doesn't even look at the fact that it's his behavior that's the issue here, right? He recognizes that his father's behavior is an issue, but he looks at where his father is. His father's got money, he's got wives, he's got family, all that stuff. So he's like, you know what? Seems like it's the norm, but it's not, is it? So social services, early intervention, welfare check constantly. In fact, I would take the mother and the kids away from the man and have them put into witness protection. I jest, but definitely take them away from that man. And it's just, dude is in high school, bro.
Yeah, he's so tall.
Imagine if he goes to college where there's no parental nothing. He would ruin so many women's lives.
You probably have a child.
And most likely his. But guess what? His dad, the arsehole he is, would cover it up. And it would never change. Not a damn thing will change. Generational problems, anger issues. Especially with the amount of power that boy has as well. My God. Anyways, toxic homes breed toxic adults. That's it. That's all I've got for Nate.
So my last one is Amelia Shepherd. She is a drug addict because of all the trauma she's witnessed, and she doesn't know how to handle the trauma. She doesn't speak to people. Well, when she does try to speak to people, murder shuts her down. Her brother is dead, so she's on herself, and so she turns to drugs, which were her comfort, because beforehand, we in her history, we know she has a history of drug addiction. And then when her brother passes away, she's like, I need to talk to someone. So she goes to her sister-in-law. And her sister-in-law's like, I don't want to talk. I'm grieving. She's like, yeah, I know you're grieving, but I'm grieving too, and I need an outlet for my grief. And she gets shut down. And then she goes to drugs. I think Amelia just should be in constant, like, back-to-back therapies, not and rehab. Like, she needs to do, like, I think in the later episode, she does go to rehab, and she does do, she goes back and does, what's it called she has a sponsor that she speaks to.
Right.
I forgot the word.
Yeah.
So in the end, she does do rehab, and she does get a sponsor. So when she does need an outlet for someone to talk to, she has that, and she doesn't have to turn to the drugs, because her drugs were an outlet for her emotions. But now that she has a sponsor, she's good. She doesn't need to turn to the drugs. She just needs to take us a call, get a coffee, and be like, I'm going through it. I need you to sit down and talk to me, because my half sister doesn't want to talk to me, and I need an outlet.
Yeah, no, fair play. And also, I don't know how you're going to go to the grieving wife of your brother to go and vent to. Like, you're right.
But she was like, we're going through it together. That's how she thought of it.
She knows Meredith more than that. Meredith is a crash out, crash everything.
Not at that
kind
point.
of girl.
At that point, they were getting to know each other, because that bird of Derek hadn't really fully told her. She's like, yeah, I have sisters. But she hadn't met the sisters properly.
No, yes, she had. She'd been working at the hospital for quite some time.
I don't think they were close, though.
Fair enough, they weren't close, but I'm sure they knew the way each other was, because didn't she used to date one of the other doctors as well? The ortho lady. There was a whole thing with the ortho lady. The lady with the leg. There was 3 of them. And there was this whole Dr. Shepherd, where they got the Dr. Shepherds confused. So yeah, she was working at, she literally just turned up one day, quite literally. Lunatic.
Yeah.
Did she also have a brain thing as well?
Yeah, she does.
A brain thing in that show. Anyway, my next one is Joe. In honor of the new season that's come out that we're yet to watch, and since it's ending,
last season.
Mr. Joe and his abusive childhood with that man who he ended up killing, and there was no intervention. There was constant abuse. And so if social care or the NHS had stepped in the UK, for example, if everything kind of quite went right, after domestic violence like that, right, Joe would have been put into a looked after program, foster care. He would have gone to therapy and continuous psychiatric evaluation, where they would have caught his crazy tendencies, weird behaviors. And so because that would have been caught, he would have been watched, he wouldn't have had that bookshop that he was, where he unfortunately met Beck, lunatic, and built this whole relationship and thinking that he just needed to meet his fucking soulmate. My guy, you didn't need a soulmate. You needed a social worker breathing down your neck, my guy. Yeah. You needed a therapist. Well, to be honest, he killed the other therapist. No, he framed the other therapist.
He did.
So you know what? Some people are just evil. And so if he had like continued such behavior, it would have been noticed, and he would have just been put into some type of care and just permanently stayed there. Yeah. And he would have been sectioned or whatever. So yeah, if that's all I've got for Mr. Goldberg. They also needed to ban him from women, all types of women, because you never know which one he'll find enticing and say, oh hey you. I think I saw something on TikTok recently about Joe. I think someone was comparing Joe and Dexter, and they were like, oh, the show you makes Joe seem like a good guy, or like a guy that you should like, and there was this other lady that was teaching that initial one. I was like, no, that is not what the show was showing at all. The show doesn't really show him in a good light at all. They show him having a breakdown all the time. And so I commented and I said, I think he should probably, the lady should really take a sit down to see why she thinks that Joe was portrayed in a good light. Because how are we watching the same thing?
I don't know.
I mean, he locks people in cages, bro. He's charismatic, yes, but that's where it ends with the likeness of Joe. Like, people like Joe because he's charismatic, and normal Joe is normal.
Yeah.
Right? Like, he's sarcastic, he's like some book nerd, he's normal. And that's how abusive people are to other people. They're normal, but in closed doors, is it under closed doors, in closed doors, behind closed doors?
Yeah,
they're up to God knows what. So that's the point. That's the point the show's trying to make. They're not trying to paint him in a good light. They're trying to let people know that they need to shine their eyes to their friends' partners because they're not there when the doors are closed. Anyway, moving on to red light, green light.
Okay.
Which is Euphoria. So, number 1, Rue Bennett. How would you judge her?
Red.
Oh, I think she's an amber. She's not a bad person. She struggles with addiction and with her grief. And she lies, she steals, she manipulates people. She's hurting, you know?
Red still.
And she does hurt the people who also give her love as well, like her girlfriend. But her heart's in the right place, though. She's
not malicious. No, I understand she's not malicious, but she's still a red flag.
Her actions aren't great, but she's kind. Like, if you look at Rue when she's not high, she's witty. She's fun to be around. Mm-hmm. She's lovely to her sister.
Just when she's not high.
That's what I'm saying. When she's not high, when she's herself. But the addiction is what makes her still hurt people because she's chasing that high. Mm. So that's why she gets a number from me. Because I like her. She's a cool kid. Nate Jacobs.
Red,
yeah. Abusive, manipulative, violent, broken. Oh my God. Dangerous to every single person around him, including his brother. And obviously, his father as well. Someone needs to arrest that boy and send him right to jail. That's it. Mm. Next, Fez. Green.
Amber.
I mean, he's a drug dealer and that's it. Everything else is a green. So green. Like I said, he protects people around him. Rue. Lexi. He has a weird code of honor, right? He's respected by the people around him. So you know he's someone who's fair, okay. Right? So he gets a green. I mean, he has more ethics and more honor than Nate. I'm not going to put him and Nate together. If I'm giving Nate a red, I can't give Fez a red.
That's fine. I didn't say I said it's amber.
Oh, fair play. So you can green. Next is Cassie, your girl.
Amber.
Yeah, amber. Anything?
No, she's just an amber. She's a struggling girl who needs to find confidence in herself and let the rumors.
She craves validation.
Yeah.
And love to the point that she self-destructs. Really, she betrayed it. She betrayed her best friend.
She did.
She's not evil though. Like, she's not a bad person. She's just Maddie.
Oh, Maddie's a green.
Yeah, I'd say she's a loyal bitch. She is fiercely loyal. She has a strong moral code as well. Mm. Like, she's clear on what she will do and what she won't do. Like, even though it's messy, she's like, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Done. And she's a ride or die. Jules.
Oh, she's a green.
Yeah. Amber. She's a bit of a risk to herself. She'd be putting herself in certain positions that I'm just like, she's looking for something.
She's doing it for the plot.
Yeah, she's adventurous and that gets her into a situation, Yeah.
But she's a green.
Sometimes selfish, but vulnerable. She is a vulnerable young person, And she wants to save people. She's kind. She's lovely. But girl, that adventure, do stuff like adventure golf. Not meeting random men in places where, boy oh boy. But yeah, she gets a number. Yeah, I reckon she and Rue are about same level of recklessness. Lexi Howard.
Green.
Yeah, she's alright. Yeah. That's what I've got to say. Do you remember Ali? Ali.
No.
Carl Jacobs.
Red.
Bastard. A predator. An abuser. There's no amount of crying in a fucking gay bar that would make me give that man any type of sympathy. Any type.
Oh, that's how it started. Oh, goodness me. Because he grew up in a period where he couldn't love the man he wanted to love.
Jail. Immediately. Somebody call the cops. Oh my God, him and his son, they need to be locked up. Oh, anyway, you just hope that the young brother doesn't have.
Oh, he does.
He does, doesn't he?
I'm pretty sure he hasn't. I haven't seen him.
Yeah, but
I can feel it.
And Kat, finally.
Kat's a number.
Yeah, it starts off nice, doesn't it?
What, Kat?
Yeah, because she's empowered. She's not feeling like herself, and then
she comes up and down.
She becomes toxic. Anyway, she gets a number. Right, so moving on to this or that.
Okay.
Scenario based this or that, right? So, who's the ultimate queen of messy but iconic? Maddie Perez or Blair Waldorf?
Maddie, haven't watched Gossip Girl.
Blair. Who's more self-sabotaging? Cassie Howard or Serena van der Woodson?
Cassie.
Promise you need to watch Gossip Girl.
Okay.
Because you will know. This bit, I told you. Oh! They both slept with their best friend's boyfriend. So, and that's all that Cassie has done so far.
That we know of.
Well, yeah, on the show. But in Gossip Girl, Serena? Okay, moving on. Who's the bigger walking tragedy in desperate need of NHS intervention? Rue or BoJack Horseman?
BoJack.
100%. I'm so sorry. Rue needs it, but yeah, BoJack definitely. So if you had to pick one oddball to be your ride or die in a crisis, who's your guy? Fezco or Dwight Schrute? Fez. Dwight is a narc. Who's more dangerous to date? Love Quinn from You or Nate Jacobs?
More dangerous to date?
Yeah.
Love. Nate's just abusive verbally. Love will poison me slowly, and she'll make me know that she's poisoning me. I'm like,
at least you can run away from Nate and he would lose interest in finding you.
Yeah.
Love will find you and she has the resources to do so as well. And the smarts to find you. Okay, who's the real MVP of the streets? Fez or Ashtray? They're both the kids, or Fez?
Fez, because he's taking care of Ashtray.
Yeah, I'd say Fez. But Fez is Ashtray is loyal. Which reality show is better at producing absolute chaos? Love Island UK or Too Hot to Handle?
Too Hot to Handle.
Really?
Yeah.
To be honest, I only watched like 3 seasons or so. Fair play. Right. Which toxic couple would destroy you faster? Cassie and Nate or Joe and Love?
Would destroy me faster? Joe and Love.
Yeah. Cassie and Nate, they don't hold a candle to Joe and Love. Who's the scarier, charming murderer? Villanelle or Joe?
I'm going to say Villanelle.
Villanelle, for sure. My God.
She takes joy in it.
Yeah. Which Marvel series delivered the better story? WandaVision or Loki?
Story? WandaVision, but Loki's funny.
Yeah. Who's better at fixing absolute disaster? Olivia Pope or Annalise Kin?
Olivia Pope.
Yeah. Annalise herself is a mess. I don't even think she ever fixed one thing. Who's the real queen of living life on her own terms? Carrie Bradshaw or Samantha Jones? Samantha Jones. Who's the bigger nice guy menace? Ross Geller or Ted Mosby?
Ross.
Fuck that guy, man. Who's the better hilarious chaotic womanizer with a secret heart? Barney or Schmidt? Barney.
Come on, but Schmidt.
I know, but Barney for me.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Schmidt.
Schmidt.
Yeah.
Who's the better awkward but somehow still iconic TV girl? Jess Day or Robin Shabatsky? Robin. I found Jess quite annoying sometimes.
That's fair.
Who's it for you?
What's the scenario?
Who's the better Who's the better awkward but somehow still iconic?
Robin.
Yeah. Which lovable mess would you want as your best friend? Nick or Marshall?
Marshall.
Yeah. Nick is just too much of a mess. I can't cope. Right. Who would you rather have as your unpredictable roommate? Rue or Jess? Jess. No doubt. Imagine coming home to someone just overdosing on the floor. No, I can't cope. Who causes more chaos in a night out? Villanelle or Barney Stinson?
Villanelle.
Who's more dramatic over basically everything? Carrie Bradshaw or Olivia Pope?
Carrie.
You think?
Olivia's not dramatic.
Remember the whole, she finds out well, to be honest, what she finds out is quite crazy. So Carrie, yeah. All Carrie ever finds out is that someone's shitting on her, like, social issues, which minor.
Yeah, Olivia's not dramatic. She just deals with things as they come to her.
She's dramatic. My girl ran away to a whole island, and she was going to run away as well when they found out that she was the other lady that the president was seeing. Remember that whole thing when she was wearing
that is justified. Me too, I run away, because I don't want to press on me.
I'm just saying. That's what I said. Like, there's actually real stuff happening to Olivia Pope compared to Carrie.
Yeah, but that's not her being dramatic. That's just her trying to protect herself.
A bit dramatic still.
So you wouldn't try and protect yourself in that situation?
Not in the way that she did. And the whole earn me if you want me. Bitch, you're seeing a married man. There ain't no earning. You have stoops lower than low. Calm the fuck down. Okay. If you're broke and need a best friend to survive with, who's your guy? Nick or Fez?
Fez.
Who wins a most savage combat contest? Maddie or Samantha?
Samantha.
Who's scarier when they fall in love with you? Ted Mosby or Joe Goldberg?
Joe,
unfortunately.
Last two?
Last 4. And there's more, actually.
Okay, we'll put that as last two.
No, because there is a last 2. Okay, so we'll do the last 3. Who's more likely to actually survive a zombie apocalypse? Fez or Dwight?
Fez.
Dwight, actually, I'd say.
I haven't watched Walking Dead.
Oh, no. The Office, Dwight.
Haven't watched Office either.
Ah, okay. Who's the more toxic father figure or husband mess?
Okay.
Big or Carl Jacobs?
Carl Jacobs.
Who's the ultimate, last one, who's the ultimate adorkable hot mess queen? Mindy Lahiri or Jessica Day?
Mindy.
I'd say. Now, the final two. You accidentally insulted one of them at a party. Who would you pick to stalk you across 3 countries first? Villanelle or Joe?
Villanelle. She'll have fun with it.
You wouldn't have fun with it. I'd rather Joe, because Joe would romance me at least.
So would Villanelle in her own special way.
No, I'd rather the romance from Joe.
Okay.
Because at least there's a chance I could escape, because he set people free.
2.
Yeah, chance still. How many people has Villanelle set free, please?
1.
I'll take my chances with Joe.
I'll do 2-1.
Okay, and final one. You post a messy breakup announcement on Instagram. Who shows up at your house, champagne in hand, ready to torch your ex's life for you? Samantha or Maddie?
Maddie.
I want Samantha, because she'll gas me up. She'll come with caviar as well, and the good champagne.
Maddie be ready torching the man's car.
Well, I don't want to touch any car. No misdemeanors. No. She'll take me to a club. I'll enjoy myself. She'll find me a man to do my thing. We'll have fun. We'll eat good. We'll come home. She'll buy me a nice vibrator.
Yeah.
A nice book. And I'll be happy. And she'll give me the number to a good therapist. Samantha's a fantastic friend. And she'll give me horrible advice. And that's okay. And I know I'm not going to take it, but she's still giving it. And the love is there.
Yeah.
And yeah, that is it for this episode.
Fantastic.
Yes, let us know if you've enjoyed it. If you guys like this new format, let us know. Comment below what your faves are. And yeah, we'll keep on carrying on with this format. And I'm assuming the next one will be a film, like a film episode type thing.
Sure.
Okie dokie. All right. Bye.
Bye. Because Robin didn't want to have children, and he did.